Are you looking for something sweet? Well, Pia Bonalos has a treat for you this morning. Good morning, Pia.
Good morning, Claire. Chocolate lovers unite. I am here at Risa Chocolate Kitchen where they have all these kinds of chocolate sure to satisfy your craving. With me is chocolate eating officer, Pam Cinco, to tell us more about it. Hi, good morning, Pam.
Hi, good morning, Pia.
First of all, your designation really is something that I would like to apply for. How you're being a chocolate eating officer. Do you still remember how your love affair with chocolate started?
Oh, of course. I will not forget it because it was actually a stress release for me whenever things get tight at work. I was in marketing my whole life. Although that was also an enjoyable career, there were stressful moments. So I would bake, and then later on, I found myself always baking with chocolate. Then when I got exposed to the cookbook of Francois Payard, he always talked about using the best kind of chocolate. I decided to do more research about chocolate, and that's when I realized that this is what I wanted to do. Instead of just making the cakes and pastries, I wanted to specialize in making chocolates.
And of course, just being surrounded with chocolate is enough to take my stress away. But of course, it's called Risa Chocolate Kitchen. It's really exciting me right now. Put chocolate in my head. Who is Risa, or what is Risa?
Risa is actually from the Spanish word sonrisa, which means smile, because we like people to smile when they try our chocolates.
Okay.
Because you can't hide it. If a chocolate doesn't taste good, people won't smile. You can't hide it. So that's why we decided to name it Risa Chocolate.
That's true. And honestly, just the smells, okay, yeah, I'm just giving away how much a big chocolate lover I am. But just the smell is enough to make me smile, and see how bright and colorful everything is. Everything's so yellow and red. And of course, now I want to talk about all the chocolates that you have. Of course, people are familiar. There's white, milk, and dark chocolate. But what varieties do you have for your chocolates?
Well, if we start with the dark chocolate. We pride ourselves in using both local and foreign beans. Like there's a 71% Ecuador, no? The beans are just mild, so if you're like a beginner for bitter chocolate, we highly recommend this. Although the content is quite high, it's at 71%, it's not so bitter.
Okay.
But if you want something that's more, has a stronger taste, you go for either a Venezuela bean or a Philippine bean, and we have the South Cotabato bean for that. So it comes in 60% and 70%. And we have the Venezuela milk chocolate. It comes in hazelnut and the plain one. This one is both liked by dark chocolate and milk chocolate lovers because it's not too sweet but very creamy. And then we have, for our white chocolate, we like to make a twist on it. We roasted the white chocolate, so, and then we mixed in our local pili with it. So it's like pastillas.
Okay.
But it melts in the mouth like chocolate. So it's a different kind of experience. So these are more or less the popular ones. Then some, like for our truffles, we have classic, which is just pure chocolate and cream. And then cerveza negra.
Wow.
We use that also. And it also uses 60% dark chocolate.
Okay, just let me talk a little bit about what you mentioned, the South Cotabato bean, because usually when you think chocolate, you wouldn't think that we actually have good beans here that could be made into like artisanal chocolate like this. What makes our South Cotabato bean, what's the profile like? I mean, why would it be a good bean to make chocolates with?
Well, first of all, you don't have to mix it with other chocolate beans just to come up with a profile. That's very rare, I think, for any Asian cacao bean. It's quite rare to come up with a single origin one, meaning that there is a distinct taste per bean. Because normally, people would try to use junk beans. Junk in the sense that it's not garbage.
Okay.
They are good beans, but there's no one particular distinct flavor that comes out of the bean. So you have to mix it with other beans to come up with a profile. To answer your question, the 60% South Cotabato, we like the beans because it's more caramel, which is actually quite rare so far among all the beans that we've tried in the Philippines. This one has a caramel note. So it's quite nice. You don't need to add a lot of sugar to it because that caramel note already sweetens up your palate.
But you said that the South Cotabato bean is like 60%, but for those who aren't into dark chocolate, would start with a 70%. So bakit parang with a stronger one yung isa?
Because there are people who really like their chocolate to be dark and strong. The bold taste.
That would be me.
Yes, the 60% is more on an introduction to the South Cotabato line. If you have the 71% Ecuador to introduce you to bitter chocolate, not bitter, It's dark chocolate.
Okay.
You have the 60% South Cotabato to introduce you to a nice Philippine blend.
Ah, nice. Okay. And of course, I
Yes,
wouldn't let this
try.
opportunity pass me by. This is the South Cotabato.
Yes, it's 60% South Cotabato. I'd like you to try it.
All right. And I hear that there's actually, do you mind helping me out here?
Yes.
Because there's a way you actually have to apparently snap the chocolate. Why do I have to do that?
Well, first you smell it. To
Oh,
appreciate
okay,
the
of
beans,
course.
you smell it. So it should smell like chocolate.
It
Yeah.
does. It smells like heaven to
And
me.
then you try to break it. There should be a snap.
Let's try and do this. There, you heard that. Okay.
Snap. And then you take a bite, a small one. And then don't chew. Just let it sit first in your mouth. Let it melt slowly. So you begin to taste the flavors, the unique flavors. So it doesn't taste just like chocolate.
Okay.
Do you taste any particular...
Yeah, as in, I could smell like a little bit of yung pagka-dark niya, and it's a little bit sweet as well. There's something there that, because I'm already a big fan of dark chocolate, but there's a sweetness there that cuts through it na parang it makes the experience parang more pleasant. Parang nagtatalo, the darkness and the sweetness of it. This is really, really good. Okay.
That's what you do. So you just let it melt. Sorry, I'm interrupting you
No,
talking
no, no,
while
no.
tasting
It's
it.
okay.
But you just let it melt, and then once it melts a little, you bite and then let it melt. Because diba, other people would say, all dark chocolate tastes the same.
Yes.
But they don't. Because you just have to allow it time. You don't need to eat. That's the nice thing about good quality chocolate. You don't need to eat a lot. Because you're not your palate's not after the sugar. It's after the flavors that these chocolate beans produce.
And of course, even more than eating the chocolate, I'll just put this aside, but I'll have my little piece right here. There's also a way of storing them, apparently, that to make you have that complete experience. Can you tell me about storage?
In general, if we live in a cool climate, you just leave it at room temperature. But we have to be realistic. We're in the Philippines,
Yes,
and
exactly.
especially with this hot weather, it's best to put it inside the chiller. Right now, it's best to put it inside the chiller and keep it inside the box, so you avoid the condensation.
Okay.
Diba? When it waters, the taste differs, and it gets sticky. You try to keep it in the ref. But for those who really want to prolong the life of their chocolate, you can keep it in the freezer.
Okay.
Especially if these are bars, but to enjoy it, so that it's not, because to avoid freezer burn, make sure it's in the container, or if there's no container, wrap it in foil, and then that's the time you put it in a microwavable or a freezer-friendly container.
Alright.
And then once you eat it from the freezer, put it in the chiller. Gradual, should be gradual,
Okay.
and then room temperature, because chocolate best reveals itself at room temperature.
Oh, okay. And there are a lot more things for me to really uncover to this and this really, really yummy chocolate beans and chocolate bars that they have here at Risa. Thank you so much, Pam.
Thank you, Pia.
Okay, Claire, I think all that's left for me to do is just enjoy the chocolates here. Back to you, Claire and Amelin.
Oh, looks great, Pia. Thank you.